warm welcome to the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, where we bring you important unstart questions that were asked by the members of the Rajya Sabha during the recently concluded session of the Upper House. I'm Kriti Mishra, and joining me is my colleague Vishal.
Well, thank you so much, Kriti. So let's take our viewers through these important questions. And the first question has been asked to the Ministry of External Affairs, and this one is from member Binoy Vishwam, who wants to know from the government whether it provides external funding to research organizations and independent think tanks.
The government says that financial support is provided to various research organizations and think tanks from the ministry's budgetary allocation to support activities and events related to foreign and national security policy. These include autonomous bodies such as ICWA, IDSA and RIS, as well as independent organizations located both at New Delhi and in other parts of India such as Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai and Pune. The otherwise funding by MEA to various research organizations was 28 crore 33 lakh 57,119 in 2016-17, 27 crore 88 lakh 90,027 in 2017-18 and 35 crore 38 lakh 58,155 in 2018-19. Moving on to the next question asked by member Rakesh Sinha, and this one also pertains to the Ministry of External Affairs. And Mr. Sinha has asked about the manner in which the government is planning to strengthen relationship with Buddhist countries.
Well, the Ministry of External Affairs in its answer says that Buddhism is practiced in many parts of the world, including Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Laos, PDR, Cambodia, Vietnam, China, Mongolia, Japan and Republic of Korea. India has long-standing historical ties with these countries. Now, the government will continue to engage proactively with these countries through high-level visits, development, partnerships, cultural cooperation and people-to-people contacts. The number of citizens or tourists from these countries visiting Buddhist holy places in India has been growing rapidly over the years. India is partnering in conservation and preservation of important archaeological, religious and cultural heritage monuments and sites in many of these countries. Indian cultural centers have been established in most of the above-mentioned countries. Chair of Indian Studies have also been set in several universities of many of these nations. Also, conferences and seminars on Buddhist themes organized in India have been attended in large numbers by scholars, monks and Indologists from these countries. The 6 international Buddhist enclaves organized so far in India have witnessed large participation from these nations, and Government of India offers scholarships to students from these countries to study in various educational institutes in India, including courses in Buddhist history and literature. Well, the next question is addressed to the Ministry of External Affairs, and this one is from member Shanta Chetri, who wants to know from the government whether in the India-Iran joint consular meeting held recently, the government pledged for mutual legal assistance on civil and commercial matters with Islamic Republic of Iran, extending longer duration of e-visa for nationals of each other on reciprocity and visa facilitation for greater people-to-people contacts.
An agreement on mutual legal assistance on civil and commercial matters is presently being negotiated with the Islamic Republic of Iran. During the India-Iran Joint Consular Committee meeting, which was held in New Delhi on May 14, 2019, the proposed agreement was discussed with a view to its expeditious conclusion. During the India-Iran GCCM, both sides agreed to take steps to further streamline visa issuance process on reciprocal basis to facilitate people-to-people contacts and promote friendly exchanges. Iran is one of the 167 countries to whom the Indian e-visa facility has been extended. Pursuant to discussions in GCCM, Iran has now further extended the visa on arrival facility for Indian nationals from 30 to 90 days. Further, Indian nationals can now receive 1-year multiple entry visa from the missions and consulates of the Islamic Republic of Iran located in India. Moving on to the next question asked by member Shashikala Pushpa, and this one is to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And she has asked whether it is a fact that many rail tracks are running through forest areas, due to which many animals are being killed by trains.
Well, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has given a detailed answer to this question, and it says that rail tracks do pass through forest areas, and movement of wild animals in search of food and water brings them at very close proximity to railway lines, and at times this leads to accidental deaths. The ministry says that it has no proposal for removal of rail tracks running through forest areas. However, in accordance with the provisions contained in the Forest Conservation Act 1980 and the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, as amended from time to time, the railway tracks passing through forest areas are recommended by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and Standing Committee of National Board for Wildlife after considering all factors including the availability of alternative sites, mitigation measures and management-oriented conditions. The ministry says that with a view to minimize the casualties to wild animals due to railway lines, the ministry has taken the following important measures, which include eco-friendly measures to mitigate impacts of linear infrastructure has been prescribed to assist the project agencies of linear infrastructure in designing the linear infrastructure in a manner which will reduce human-animal conflicts in the areas where these linear infrastructures are passing through the protected areas and other wildlife areas. Also, a general advisory has been issued jointly by Ministry of Railways and the Ministry of Environment and Forests on 30th of March 2010 to the General Manager of NF East Coast and Southern Railways with a request to implement the suggested measures. The ministry, through a letter dated 28th of December 2016, has also requested all the CWLW of the project elephant states to implement the precautionary measures to minimize death of elephants due to train accidents. Now, regular and extensive patrolling by frontline field staff of the state forest departments is done so that wild animals can be retained in their habitat. SOPs have also been issued to manage tigers dispersing out in human-dominated landscapes to safeguard humans as well as tigers, besides reducing exposure of tigers to linear infrastructure. And lastly, the Social Forestry Division, Amreli, Gujarat, has erected 80.80 kilometer chain link fencing on both sides of the railway track passing through the lion movement area. The next question is also addressed to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and this one has been asked by member R.K. Sinha, who wants to know from the government whether it is a fact that the World Health Organization in its report has enumerated 22 cities of India out of 30 most polluted cities of the world, which is a matter of concern.
The World Health Organization has released the WHO Global Ambient Air Quality Database updated till 2018, which consists of mainly annual means for PM10 or PM2.5, covering more than 4,000 human settlements in 108 countries for the years from 2018 to 2016. WHO does not rank countries or cities on the basis of air pollution data. The central government has taken a number of initiatives for prevention, control and abatement of air pollution across the country. Now, these include plans and directives, comprehensive action plan identifying timelines and implementing agency for actions identified for prevention, control and mitigation of air pollution in Delhi and NCR has been notified. National Clean Air Program, called the NCAP, under the Central Sector Control of Pollution Scheme, has a time-bound national level strategy to tackle air pollution problem across the country in a comprehensive manner has also been launched. 102 non-attainment cities for formulation and implementation of city-specific action plan under NCAP have been identified. Graded response action plan for different levels of air pollution in Delhi and NCR has also been notified. Monitoring. Setting up of monitoring network for assessment of ambient air quality. Notification of National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Launch of National Air Quality Index. Implementation of Air Quality Early Warning System for Delhi in October 2018 in association with Ministry of Earth Sciences. Leapfrogging from BS4 to BS7 fuel standards since 1st of April 2018 in NCT of Delhi from or by 1st of April 2020 in the rest of the country. Introduction of cleaner alternate fuels like gaseous fuel, CNG, PNG, ethanol, blending. Promotion of public transport and improvements in roads and building of more bridges to ease congestion on roads. Operationalization of Eastern Peripheral Expressway and Western Peripheral Expressway to divert non-destined traffic from Delhi. Streamlining the issuance of pollution under control certificate industry. Badarpur Thermal Power Plant has been closed from 15th of October 2018. All brick lanes have also been shifted to zigzag technology in Delhi and NCR. Installation of online continuous 24/7 monitoring devices, all red category industries in Delhi and NCR. Revision of emission standards for industrial sectors from time to time. The next question is by member P. Bhattacharya to the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and Mr. Bhattacharya has asked whether the government proposes to conduct any study on climate change.
The answer from the Ministry of Earth Sciences to this question is in affirmative, and the ministry says that it has already established the Centre for Climate Change Research at the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, since January 2009 to study the impact of climate change in the country. The centre is dedicated to carry out research on global and regional climate change with a particular focus on the Indian climate and monsoons. CCCR has started the coupled climate modelling, and based on the efforts, an Indian climate-specific Earth system model has been developed, which is contributing to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's sixth assessment. Currently, efforts are ongoing to generate the climate change scenarios. Also, to better understand the regional climate change issues, CCCR has also undertaken the coordinated downscaling experiment South Asia program. It is generating and collating from various partners downscaled and latest climate projections from multiple models. Also, 279.94 crore rupees is the total budgeted fund during the period 2017-18 to 2019-20 for the program Monsoon Convection, Clouds and Climate Change. MC4, which includes the following sub-programs: Centre for Climate Change Research CCCR, including Virtual Water Centre, Physics and Dynamics of Tropical Clouds, Atmospheric Research Test Beds for Process Studies and National Climate Reference Network, also Metro Air Quality and Weather Service. Well, the last question for this episode is also addressed to the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and this one is from member Vinay P. Sahasrabuddhe, and his question is as to what research has been carried out by the cryosphere studies in Himalayas in the last 3 years.
The National Centre for Polar and Ocean Research under the Ministry of Earth Sciences has undertaken studies in the Western Himalaya in Chandra Basin in Lahaul Spiti since 2013. A total of 6 glaciers, namely Sutri Dhaka, Batal, Bara Singri, Samudra Tapu, Gepang Ghat and Kunjum of this basin are monitored for mass, energy and hydrological balance. NCPOR has established a high-altitude research station named Himansh in Himalaya in 4,000-meter altitude at Sutri Dhaka, a remote location in Lahaul Spiti district of Himachal Pradesh. The government further says that the studies carried out by NCPOR in Chandra Basin indicates varying rates of retreat of these glaciers in the range of 13 to 33 meters per year. The rate of melting varies from glacier to glacier depending on topography and climatic variability of the region. Mass balance measurements at Batal and Sutri Dhaka glaciers during peak ablation reveal the role of debris in influencing the ice mass losses. Debris of thickness of above 2 centimeters have reduced the melting rates up to 70%, whereas the debris cover of below 2 centimeters thickness has accelerated melting up to 10% of the total melting. Since the glacier health is affected by both natural and human factors, efforts towards reduction in greenhouse gases, aerosols, etc. are critical towards conservation of the glaciers in Himalaya. 6 scientists from NCPOR are involved in the research of Himalayan glaciers. So Vishal, that's all we could pack in this edition of Question Hour for our viewers.
We'll take a short break here, and on the other side of the break, our colleagues Arvind Singh and Kriti Singh will bring you some more questions in Hindi in Prashn Kal. Stay tuned.